introduce folk about what that is. We've got two fantastic speakers for you tonight to look at the history and the progress that's been made on homelessness in Finland over years, and the Scottish perspective of you will also be really interested in. I'm the Chief Executive of Homeless Action Scotland. Homeless Action Scotland is a membership organisation. We're based here in Edinburgh, but our members are voluntary organisations, they're housing associations, and there's some local authorities as well. Homelessness, we're an organisation that works with them, and we run conferences, we run training, but what we're very interested in, and that's why I'm delighted to be here this evening, is about the exchange of information, the exchange of best practice, and particularly from Europe and beyond. And be able to hear firsthand from one of the, if you like, the doyen of homelessness practice around Europe is a really good thing. Now, I just thought I would try and give you a little bit of a perspective rather, just over a couple of sentences about what Housing First is. Could I just have a quick show of hands? Does anybody know what when we talk about Housing First, what we mean by that? We've got a few. That's interesting, actually. That's probably around about half of the audience, which is fantastic to see. Well, the thing is, I probably start by saying what Housing First isn't, right? It's not Finnish, right? It's not Nordic. It wasn't developed there. But perhaps actually in the Nordic countries, that's where it's been developed the strongest. It was set up in America in the early 1990s. Projects started there in New York City. And it is an approach to homelessness which has been adopted in Canada, it's been adopted in Norway, Italy, here in Scotland, and elsewhere in the United Kingdom as well. Housing First, in its essence, is a housing approach for people with deep and complicated needs in the main. And I'm sure that we'll hear more of that later. The other thing is perhaps I should say that there is always a bit of debate and dubiety about Housing First as well. And you know what is probably my version of what I think it is will be hotly debated by others too. So after that very kind of first presentation, developer of very, very smart housing solutions, we started in Helsinki, but now encompass much more than that in many, many municipalities across the whole of Finland. He's the chief executive of the Y Foundation. The Y Foundation are the largest NGO provider of housing stock in Finland. Right? And to give you some perspective on that, 16,700 apartments. That is the scale. It's an absolutely huge thing. He's internationally recognised as being the expert in his field, and I'd like you to give him a very warm Edinburgh welcome as he presents to us tonight.
Thank you for a very warm welcome. Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope that this presentation will give you some information about what we have been doing in Finland in recent years. My title is, Have the Finns Ended Homelessness? It's easy to answer straight away, not completely, but doing quite much progress in recent years. Actually, there are some researchers from UK who claim that we have reached the point of functional zero of homelessness, but in my view, we still have homeless people, so it means that we have a lot of work to do still. But we need a little bit background, a historical background, so I will start from quite far away in the history. In a few years, we had around over 400,000 Finnish war refugees that came from the region that was lost in the war to Soviet Union, and within a few years. permanent housing was provided for them. That was a huge national project because the economy of the country was in ruins, so it was not quite easy. But it shows that it has been done before, and compared to that, whatever homelessness we have at the moment should be a piece of cake to deal with. There's another line stemming from this World War. Single men, war veterans who came from the war front ended up in Helsinki living in shelters that were operated by irony men